Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Devil's Advocate Trades Edition on our segment Hard Hats and Hard Truth. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Lisa.
How are you?
Kind of tired, actually. I was up at stupid o'clock this morning for some dumb reason.
I hear you. I
Like
hear you. Did you,
construction wake up times.
right? I
Yeah,
know.
hate it.
I woke up at like quarter after 5.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But you're 2 hours ahead of me, so it would have been like 3 o'clock my time.
Right, a little earlier for you.
But yeah, but then I got up and I take my dog for a walk every morning, so whatever. Do my little regiment, you know.
Yeah, didn't walk this morning. No hike. No hike.
No hike this morning.
No, I had to go right to work. Actually, I woke up and there were some messages and I just immediately to work.
You know, it's funny because right before I took Maddie for a walk, I had emails that I needed to deal with, so I went and did them first too. So I think, birds of a feather, right?
Just one of those days. One of those days. Hump day. Hump day, halfway through.
Well, we're recording on hump day, but we launch
Yeah,
on Thursday, right?
true. True.
Which is funny because I made the point of saying that I love hump day. It's like that's why I launch my podcast every Wednesday. And then
Yeah,
now we're doing the segment for Thursdays, which is
right.
great, which is our little bonus track. But so funny. Did you see how the fucking screen grab that Riverside did of my last podcast? I look like a retard.
Yeah. It's like every time somebody freezes on digital, it's always like, why? Does my face move like that? I didn't even realize I made faces like that. Even for a split second, I didn't realize I looked like that.
I was like, for God's sakes, I look like I have Bell's palsy. Like, what is happening?
This is a little slippery. Got slippery cheek.
Jeez, stupid, just stupid. Okay, so I want to talk about today because we're gonna wing it today. We're gonna wing
We're
it,
weighing it.
wing it. So yesterday I talked about. Have you heard of the Rape Academy?
What?
Yeah. Okay. So most guys who are good men have never heard of this. So right now on social media, there's an aspect going around where there's this rape academy that basically teaches men how to drug and rape or sexually assault their wives, partners, whatever. Fucking disgusting and horrible. And so I talked about it on my podcast, and this is what I kind of said because they were talking about the influx of visitations to the site. So they were talking about 87 million people touched the site, like I think in March
Get those
and
IP addresses.
or
Search those
February.
computers.
February, 87 million in February. And I'm like, February is a short month. But here's the thing. So when we talk globally, and this is something that I was saying, because everyone always has this moment where they're like, it's not all men and it's this and that and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, this is what I look at. And because some people might be like concerned at what I said. So I'm going to be honest with you. This is what I said. There's 8.3 billion people on the earth. 87 million is about 1%. It's not a large percentage. But here's the thing. I'm on some level not as phased as maybe I should be, simply because this is not new. This
Right.
is not new. This is why women are nervous when they walk to their car at night, why they pay attention, why they have large dogs, why they have dogs at all, why they are, always make sure they're in a group or don't go with anybody or cover their drinks. Like these are the reasons why. And if you actually looked at the statistics for victimology, you'll find that the majority of perpetrators in these types of incidents are known to the victim, which makes it worse. So even though women are trying to protect themselves from strangers, it's usually the person they know that is going to hurt them, whether friend or whatever. So for me, I look at it and I'm sitting there as a female who's been through that. I've had people I know that have tried to take advantage of me. I've had, partners that have tried to pull bullshit. So I've been down that road and now I'm a lot feistier. I've fucking hip checked and fought. And there was, when I was younger, I froze. So it's not like this has happened once in my life. It's happened multiple times. So when I hear something like this, I'm like, yeah, par for the fucking course.
How can a website like this even exist?
Agreed. It's disgusting. And so what I like is I like the outrage from men. I like that because it's like, okay, they're starting to really see what we already know. You know what I mean? And so then I said to them, you also have to take into consideration that once this website is being found out by people, people are going to go search it up. That's counted as a view because they're going to go search it up to be like, what is the level of threat? Why does this exist? What does this look like? So all those people that are doing that, whether male, female, does not matter. It still counts as a view. So they said something ridiculous, like 20,000 approximately men were actually doing this and uploading it. So taking video of them doing all this and uploading it, 20,000 men. And I'm like, that's gross. It's gross, Michael. But at the same time, for me as a woman, I'm sitting there and I'm like, of course it's gross. We know it's gross.
Right.
We know what it's all about. We know that when we're alone in a house with a male, no matter how much we trust them, there are certain points of communication that we pay attention to. More so, women tend to be a lot more hyper vigilant when they're alone with a male. Because
Okay.
especially when it's their friend. Because we say friend, but I've heard guys talk about the long game, the short game, this, that, and the other thing. You know, if we really like, we're not friends with women, we're only friends with women if we find you attractive. And I'm like, and in my brain, I'm kind of like, okay, I struggle with that because you and I are friends.
Maybe
Mind
the base male, like your base male instinct, maybe. But if you can give yourself up to that, okay, fine. Then you're just stupid. And you have no self control.
But that's it, right? And so women are doing these TikToks to show their animals, so their dogs, who I mean, dogs run predominantly on instinct and impulse, right? A dog sees a cookie, it wants to go for it. But they're showing how a dog will wait for command, right? So a dog is being told no, and women are using their large breed dogs, the ones that could hurt them. And they're holding out anything, meat, treats, cookies, whatever, and they're holding it in their hand right in front of the dog, and they say no. And the dog just sits there and doesn't move until command to say yes. So, and then of course the caption is not all men,
We
right?
we talked about this the other week where I said men are dogs. Some are good dogs, some are bad dogs.
Right. Get a newspaper. Bad dog.
So if you're into that, you're into that.
You know, but I'm not. You know, I guess for me as like as a female, you know, when we talk about trades, when we talk about any industry,
Mm.
and women talk about, you know, well, this happened, well, that happened. And men right away go to the other side and they're like, oh, well, you're a problem. Oh, well, you're this. Oh, well, you're, and I'm like, when you take something like this rape academy, whatever, and even though it's not in the grand scheme a huge amount, it still exists. It exists inside of the social, what is considered a social norm to make derogatory remarks, shitty jokes, sexist comments, and people laugh. And that's your first indicator that there's a problem. So you like as a male, if you're standing with a female that's your friend or your sister or whatever, someone who has a platonic relationship with you that's female, and someone walks past and makes a derogatory comment towards them. There are
Hospital.
males like you, Michael, that I know you'd be like, shut your fucking mouth.
That'll be
You're
hospital.
not
I don't know. You don't need to have a conversation here. Start the conversation. I'll just finish it.
right. So there are males more like you that are like, yeah, we're not tolerating that bullshit.
Yeah.
But you're not scared to, you're more of a free thinker. You're not scared to be grouped into the little boy code culture.
That's fine by me.
You're like, I'm a masculine male, and what makes me masculine is that I can speak my mind and go through this with you. If you want to have this fucking conversation, we can have it. I don't need to appease to a base. You're very independent, and that's something I have learned about you is you tend to be very an independent thinker. So not all men are like that. A lot of guys will, you know, just even if they find it offensive or disgusting, they'll just be like, "Oh yeah," or they'll just be like,
They'll slough it
"Whatever."
off. They'll slough it off.
Yeah,
Even if they don't like it, they'll be like, yeah, but they won't say anything. It's like, call it out. Just be like, dude, that's shitty, right? I'd tell you, if I was walking with my friend, a dude friend, and he said something offensive to a woman or anything, you think I'm not going to punch? Of course I'm going to punch him. I won't even say anything. I'll just punch him. He's my friend. Correction. Like the dog, newspaper.
yeah.
I don't know. Why do you always bring up stuff that makes me so angry? Like I hear this and I'm just like, I'm instantly so mad because I think about it this way. During COVID, great example. They knew track and trace where everybody was. Were you at home? Were you this? Were you that? But it's so weird that this rape culture, pedophiles, they don't know where they are. They don't know. Come on. Come on. You can invest it in COVID. Oh, wait, because pharmaceutical companies were making money. But that's a whole nother thing. But maybe there's no money in it. Well, the prison system is a money system. Why don't you think about that? The prison system is a money system. If people feel safe, maybe they'll go out and do more things. Maybe the entertainment districts will come alive again instead of being surrounded by all this craziness, right? Like, oh, just this stuff. I don't know. If any politicians listening, like, do your fucking job.
Not wrong. Not
That
wrong.
stuff makes me so mad.
There are politicians out there right now in the US that are fighting, and they're
Mm,
female,
mm.
and they have no filter
Right.
when it comes to this. They are so passionate about getting the message out there and being like, this is fucking ridiculous, and they have not sitting judges that are female are not having this at all. Same with some of the women in Congress. They're not having this at all. So for me, I know there's hope because there is free thinkers
Right.
that are more so in the female side that I'm seeing in Congress and in the judicial system. But I'm waiting for the men. Where are the men to have the same type of outrage, to be the same type of free thinker, to be not to sell your soul
Right.
for money? Shut your mouth, we'll give you $1 million and your kid can go to the fucking
I
finest
kind
school.
of feel that's every politician because, to be honest, if they were really good at business, they wouldn't be politicians. They'd be in business, right? Like I just feel like politicians are kind of like that mid sector, right? They're not poor enough to be just a lazy, crappy employee, and they're not good enough to have their own business. So they just kind of slide into politics or generational politics, right? Just like I just feel like every time I hear them speak, I just feel like I'm listening to an idiot.
What did you hear what Greg calls them?
Hmm.
Toddlers.
That sounds right.
Do you know why
I
he
mean,
calls them toddlers?
toddlers also can't ask questions, even though it's a pointed, direct question. Did you steal the cookie? Well, the thing about a cookie is, well, you got to describe a cookie. What do you mean by cookie? I've never seen a cookie. Like, just
Well, wait, it gets better. So Greg says politicians are like toddlers, full of shit and needs to be changed often.
there should be term limits that if you're a politician at any level, if you don't move up or move on, that's it.
Mhm.
You're done. Because you're done. Because if you're not good enough to move up or move on, why are you still there?
Yeah. Yeah.
You end up with all these, and I hate to say it, old fogies who are so out of touch with current reality, still sitting in politics, and people just keep blindly voting for them. Well, they've always been there. It's just always been.
But if we actually extrapolate everything that goes on inside of the political world, most politicians, in my understanding, are more of a puppet
Well, I would say so. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
because they have to have people who, would sponsor them or whatever the fucking case would endorse
Yeah,
them. They have to
funding,
have
funding,
endorsement.
endorsements.
They
Yep,
have to have
all that stuff.
endorsements. So if someone's going to endorse your campaign at $1 million, you're probably going to do whatever they ask.
Well, we talked about this once. I think it would be absolutely fun and kind of wild
We
if
did talk about this.
everybody for one election and one election only at the provincial level, at the federal level, through the states, wherever, globally, don't vote for any party member, only vote an independent. You just entirely flip it. Now there's no parties, there's no nothing, it's all independents. And so the big buyers will have to go rebuy all of politics, right? Like, you know how hard that would be to just go and rebuy? I mean, it's not that hard. It's what, like 550 or 600 people in Canada. You own 550 to 600 people, you own the country.
Yeah.
So people go, it's impossible to control 600 people. That's all you need. 600 people, and you can control everything in the nation. You have
Yeah.
$1 trillion, pretty easy to accomplish.
Well, you don't even need a trillion. You need like
No.
a billion.
Well, I'm just saying $1 trillion, it'd be like buying pants.
Fair.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I always have to try and pick topics that rile you up. And then I
Right.
get you on
Oh, no,
politics and you're like,
it's already open. It's already open. So it's going to be a little side mission today because I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm going to see whether or not maybe pull some IP addresses. We're going to get that type of stuff. Maybe get some emails, start doing some stuff because CNN's written about it a bunch. So I'm going to see whether or not I can get that. And I'm going to send it over to CNN. Be like, perfect. Here's the IP addresses. Here's who they are. Here's their emails. Here's their social media stuff. Here's everything.
mhm.
Just OSINT them. Like, look, what about skip tracers? Skip tracers, this should be a full-time job hired by the government that you go and you find these sick people and you put them away. Or at
Right?
least go, hey, we're watching you. And that should be enough that somebody starts to, maybe right their ship a little.
Well, no, here's the thing. Okay. The minute you let someone know that you're onto them, they
Mhm.
get craftier on how to hide.
It's the internet. You can't hide.
You think so, but some people can be. I mean, you're smarter, Michael, with the internet. I mean, there are some people what people would refer to you as in modern day society would be like a type of like legal hacker, which is a skip tracer. And you and I
Yep.
talked about this, and I was like, you should be a skip tracer. The shit you can find, like even I'm like sitting there for like 2 hours, and you're like 20 minutes. You're like, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what the fuck?
It's really easy. It's really easy. Like to do it in a legal way, right? I don't do anything illegal. Like this is all it's all publicly available stuff, but the
Yeah.
internet is a really big place and to be able to hide all that stuff, I mean, unless you really know what you're doing, it's damn near impossible.
hmm That's fair. Well, I think we should expose more people. But like for me, like I said, it's not that I'm not outraged about it. I'm absolutely disgusted that this is even a thing. I 100% am. But I'm just like par for the course as a woman. As
Right.
when I went to school, so they'd always say, "Oh, it's only like 1 in 3 men are the problem, 1 in 3 females get hurt." No. When I went to school, it was all 4 of us in the group. All 4 of us had horror stories about some sort of assault or rape, all of us. There wasn't
Jesus.
one. It was you know what I mean? So, the statistic is far higher than people want to acknowledge. It's just that most victims don't come forward. But girls sitting in a group talking about it, we're
Mm.
gonna know what happened to who. And so we're going to have those conversations. But I can tell you right now that out of all those girls in the group, I was the only one that went to the police out of those 3. And guess what? That was a fucking that was a bust too, because then you as the victim are interrogated by the police. Why am I being interrogated? Go find dumb fuck and interrogate his ass. And then they always get away. They always get a slap on the wrist. So it's like where I get really angry and passionate is when I find out that women have far worse repercussions for abortion than the guy who raped them and got them pregnant. Like, that's where I get my blood boils. That's where I get angry. So if you wanna talk about that, then you'll see a whole other side, there'll be a whole lot of
I'd prefer not to talk about that.
'cause there'll be a whole lot of curse words coming
No,
out. I
no.
don't think there'll be a proper sentence coming out of
Well,
my
this is
mouth.
supposed to
So
be hard
right now,
hats,
I'm
hard
just being
truth.
nice about it. Something that makes me very hot.
But this it goes in line with like the lady we talked about, hard hats, I think was number 4 or whatever,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
where the guy was following her home and stuff, they did nothing.
Mhm.
Right? Like it just seems a consistent thing where it's a I don't know, call it the turn the other cheek or turn a blind eye or turn whatever it is. Like don't, don't turn. Stand your ground.
Yeah.
Don't turn. Be unwavering.
Agreed, but this is society is conditioned for years, Michael, to do this. You watch it, like, they do social experiments where somebody walks over, picks up a kid, covers his mouth, and nobody fucking does anything. Out of the, like, 20 shots they do this like, the 20 takes they do for in front of different people, only
Right.
2 do something. One is a woman and one is a man. But mostly everybody says nothing. It's like, see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil. They're just walking past. And I'm sitting there going like, what the fuck are you doing? You pick up
I
a kid
couldn't
and
do
put
it.
your hand over
I
their
couldn't do
mouth.
that.
I'm running. Like, I'm
Uh,
going to find something to beat the shit out of you with.
mm,
Because if that was my kid, I would hope somebody would get involved.
right.
You know
Now
what I mean?
everybody just, nowadays it's like I'm involved.
Right?
Like
Accurate.
you got one person doing something bad, and you have 100 people with their cell phones out. All it would take is maybe 10 of those 100 people to move towards it, and it would be done, right? Like I don't know. Maybe everybody's just a wuss. Maybe everybody's just a wuss these days. Everybody's all worried. I remember being told like, "Well, don't step into it. You could get stabbed." Yeah, I could get stabbed. You could get shot. Yeah, I could get shot. Or it could also be nothing, which has been every experience except for one, which I did get stabbed.
I agree, but I mean, like, this isn't new, Michael. This has been going on for years. Like, this was going on when we were kids.
Yeah, yeah,
People
yeah.
would just walk away. There's only few and far between people that will step up to a problem that they
Mm,
see, right? Like, there are some things that I will ignore, but they're not heinous. They're just
right.
like, this is gonna be drama. Like, if I see someone who needs me to help them get something off a shelf, I'll just walk over but let
Mm.
me tell you something, for the 100 times that I've done that, there's always the few people that are like, "I don't need your fucking help," and I'm like,
Yeah,
"Okay then," and then I
yeah.
put it back on the shelf.
I remember I saw this little old lady, she was walking back, it was raining outside, it was pouring rain, and of course, I don't think anything of it. I pull over and I go, "Hey, would you like a ride to go where you're going? Like, it's pouring, you have no umbrella, you don't have no anything, or would you like my umbrella? Like, anything." "Get away from me, you creep!" I'm like, "Oh, I guess, yeah." I just kinda pulled over and just, like, approached a woman, maybe that was probably not the best thing to do, but I just look at it as going like, I'm just helping somebody out. But then when I tell the story and I hear it now and I'm like, "That does sound pretty dumb."
It's not dumb. It's
I'll
not
still do
dumb.
it. I'll
It's
still do
someone
it.
being kind, but then you take what we first opened this up about,
Mm.
and then you understand why women react that way.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So when there is a nice, kind male saying, "Hey, it's really gross outside. Either I can give you a ride or I can give you my umbrella." So you're giving options. It's not just like, "Hey, get in the car." You know what I mean? You're not being a
I
fucking
didn't
weirdo.
offer, like, a bag of candy or pencil crayons or anything, like
That's what I'm saying. You offered her a ride, shelter and a ride, which she probably would have declined
yeah,
because of what we just fucking talked about. But you offered her also an umbrella. But we react the way we do, like, get the fuck away from me, and freak out, not to scare you, but because you've scared us because we don't trust anybody. Like,
right,
women say no and they get punched in the face. Women say no and they get sexually harassed. Women say no and now we're the fucking asshole dumb bitches. And then shit's blowing up online about how all women are this and that and crazy. And you know what I mean? So a simple most men can't handle a simple rejection of no, I don't want to do that. No. It's like, and then they're all like in their feels about it. And I'm like, you guys keep calling us emotional, but you get rejected, and not necessarily rejected as in like, I don't want you, you're gross, you're ugly. I just don't want to do that with you. I'm not there. So sorry, you're friend zoned,
I
or
wouldn't
I
know.
don't know you.
I wouldn't know. I've never approached. I've never been the approacher. I've never actively gone out and hit on girls. Don't know.
Yeah, you're like, I want to be hunted.
Yeah, kinda,
I am the gazelle.
kinda. I mean, I like my quiet little life and, if somebody wants to wander into
Well,
it, they're
you
more than
like an
welcome to.
assertive woman. You like a dominant woman that's smart and can, you like someone who's a little bit more
Outside.
independent.
Outside,
Huh?
yes. Outside the home, yes. Inside the home, I prefer them to sit in their feminine.
Well,
We
yeah, of
talked
course,
about
but
this before, yeah.
most women that are independent outside the home tend to be sweeter inside their home because they don't wanna be the boss all the time. I know
Right.
that. I'm out, doing my boss thing all the time and running crews and running this and talking to all types of people and have to continuously, articulate myself as someone who is an expert in different areas. So, when I come home, I'm like a couch potato. I like, I mean, like, you've seen the way I am with my kids. I
Just
sniff my
chill.
kids. I want cuddle time. Today, I made a negotiation with Jocelyn. I was like, "Hey," I'm like, "we gotta clean the cat litter boxes. I'll tell you what, if you promise to have a sleepover with mom," because she sleeps in the basement, right?
That's funny.
So I'm like, "If you come have a sleepover with mom upstairs
Mm,
and cuddle with me, I'll do your litter box." And she's like,
fair trade.
"Yeah." And she's like, "Fine." She's 15, right? So she's like, "I don't wanna fucking sleep with my mom." And I'm like, "But your mom loves you so bad."
I do find that with people who sit in stronger positions, that's usually the more physically demanding ones. So going back to like the construction angle of it is I find construction men, like the men that I'm around, like once they have kids, they're a really generally calm person at home. Right. When
Mhm,
if they're physically active and they're, leading and everything else at work, by the time they go home, it's usually a softer touch, right? Because
mhm,
you've gotten out the aggression, that type of stuff. I don't
mhm.
how does that share how does that balance for women? Like, do you end up because, I mean, they have to obviously assert themselves to another level, which we talked about on the site. Like, how does that translate to back home? Kind of like you, is that what you generally see, or do you see it as something else?
Sorry, say that again. Do I see what?
So,
Like, do I see men that are more calm?
yeah, so like, well, I see men that way, right? From my male
Mhm.
perspective, I see them that when they're at work, they're being assertive and aggressive and getting out the anger and that type of stuff. So maybe demo day or whatever, right? They go
It's a
home, they have a
mix.
softer touch.
It's a mix. So, there are some men that are very much like you said, softer touch at home, more like the playful dad, will help out where he needs to help out. Like, a lot of guys that are the softer guy at home tend to be the, blue job guy,
Mm,
right? So, they're like, "What do you" like, out in the garage getting things fixed, fixing the fence, mowing the lawn, getting the garbage out, all the things that are, like, that are, physically enduring. They're
mm.
gonna fix. They're gonna do it. They're gonna paint the walls. They're gonna whatever. Those are most guys that I've come across. But then there's also the guys that want nothing to do with the kids. They wanna be left alone. They wanna go game. They wanna watch TV. They wanna just fucking they need like 25 minutes to 3 hours to just decompress, and they don't wanna be bugged, but they expect their working wife to not only wrangle the kids, but then to also make dinner, tidy up, blah, 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 and they're not. So I've seen that one as well. That's a really common one actually, where men are like, "I need to decompress," and they're kinda, like, short. Or then there's the other guys that don't go home right away, they go to the bar, and they kinda leave their wife hanging at home with the kids and for dinner and everything else, and then they come home and they're like, "Where's dinner?" Or, "I already ate," or whatever the fucking case may be. So, there's a mix of men out there, but at the same time, I don't know because I don't know what the dynamic of their relationship is. I don't know if this is something that has been allowed. It's gonna sound bad, but has been, I should say not allowed, accepted. If your spouse has accepted this behavior, then it's kind of like a, why are you still accepting this behavior? And a lot of people will say, well, I don't want to fight because if I'm like, why are you going out? Well, I need time, blah, 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 blah.
Don't want
Right.
to fight. And then you don't want to be in a relationship.
Right? So, that's kinda where I tell people when, like, I hear stuff from people about, like, "Oh, well, my spouse does this or my spouse does that."
Mm,
Now, I look at everything from a bigger picture, right? So, I'm the outsider looking in. So, when I have a girlfriend of mine who's bitching about their spouse, I'm like, so I've got a few girlfriends that bitch about their spouses that are really nice guys. And I say really nice because they are what 2 of them are the breadwinners, 1 is not. The wife is the breadwinner, but so hands-on with their kids, all about tidying, everything is 50-50 in the house. Dishes aren't done, we do the dishes. Dinner needs to be cooked, they'll cook dinner. Like, really nice guys, but the women just bitch all the time, and I'm like, "What are you bitching about? Do you know how many women would take your husband in a heartbeat? Just for how helpful he is?" Like, you come home and okay, so he hasn't bought you flowers in 2 years, but he comes home, he looks after the kids, makes dinner, cleans up, tidies everything, gets the yard work done, puts the kids to bed, gives them a bath, reads them stories. Like, not a lot of guys do that. Like, I
right.
don't know if you've ever seen that before, but there's more and more men that are more heavily involved with their children.
Yes.
And everyone's always like, "Oh, you gotta put your spouse first." And I'm like, "I agree. It was you and your spouse when it first started. So there needs to be a level of putting your spouse first in moments. It's taking them out on date nights. It's saying sweet things to them. And that goes both ways. That's not just men doing it. That's both."
I I'm gonna kind of jump in there. Your spouse is always first, but that doesn't mean spending time with your kids is not in your spouse's benefit either, right? Like being cognizant of your kids. But I tell you, like, I don't think you should ever really side with your kids and with against your spouse all in the same room,
In the
right?
same room,
So
I
yeah,
agree.
right.
In the same room, I agree. However, for me, I mean, everybody's situations are different, right? So, my situation is much different. So, I'm not going to ever, in front of, my kid's dad, say something negative or rude or fight with him in front of my kid's father. We're not together anymore, so I don't have to fight with him.
Right. Makes it
I made a
easier.
choice. I don't want to fight no more with you. But my kids, when they come and tell me things, and this is something else that it's a sensitive topic for me where if children tell you something, you should investigate it and not let your emotions override what you think about that person one way or another.
Right.
Like when me and the kids' dad were first separated, my son would come home and lie about his dad, about things that
They're
if he
kids.
said to his father about
Yeah.
me, I would have had the fucking RCMP at my door. And I was like, but because even though his father was a complete and utter asshole to me and tried to like ruin my life, I had to rebuild my entire life, even though he was this horrible human, telling me that I was nothing more than the cleaner and told me that he was going to stop me on the side of the highway and try and impound my vehicle and all this garbage. I still, as their mother and as his past partner, said, your father is a lot of things, but he wouldn't do that. Look, you know what I mean? You gotta
Yep.
look inside. You gotta take it from a different mindset. Like, instead of just it always being about, like, I can one up him or I can show him or I can fucking control this. I told my son, I was like, "You know what? I want you to FaceTime me when you're there, and I want you to show me."
Yeah, because I mean,
Never did.
we all know kids always tell the truth.
Right. And he
Always.
never did. And then finally, I got him on FaceTime and said, "Show me. Turn
Yeah.
the camera around."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Mommy, I lied about that." And I was like, "Don't lie about your dad. Don't lie about your dad." And he
Yeah.
was like, "Well, I was mad at him." I said, "I don't care. You don't lie about your parents to your other parent, especially in a
Mhm.
situation where it's high conflict like me and your dad are. As a little boy, if you're angry, you come and tell mommy you're angry at dad and why, and we will work through those emotions together. You do not lie about him." And I'm like, because, and then I said to Tyler, I was like, had you like, he's little. And I said, had you told daddy this, there's a good chance that the cops would have came to our house. He would have used that.
Yep.
And I'm like, so you have to understand the impact of your actions because you're angry. I would rather you come and tell me you're angry. I would rather you throw your toys around your room and, tell me that you're having some really big feelings about something that you're upset about. And I'd rather you do the same about mom. If you're mad at mom, do that. But
Big
don't lie about people.
feelings. Big feelings. Oh yeah,
What?
those are those human things that people feel.
Whatever, Michael, you got feelings. We all know it. Stop with your fucking, I only have 3 feelings.
5. 5.
Whatever. Whatever the fucking case may be.
5 feelings. 5 feelings. Identifiable feelings. The rest, I don't know. Yeah, shrug it.
It is what it is. It is what it is. My point in this episode is that women have a lot of validation in why they feel the way they do and
Right.
why they act the way they act. Another thing that pisses me off as a woman, when I like right now, that I'm on my little health journey,
Right.
trying to lose
The
weight. You know
beginning's
all
always
about
the
that.
best part. Always the
I
best part.
know. It's
It's
always good.
awful.
But I'm doing it and I'm keeping it up and I'm doing my intermittent fasting and I'm taking all my vitamins and I'm walking the dog all the time and I'm on
Nice.
I'm doing all the exercise. Like I'm doing everything because I'm like, I need to get in shape, not because it's spring, but because my body needs to feel better.
Right.
I'm not a spring chicken anymore. So it is what it is. But now when that weight pours off me and I'm like, I feel great in my own skin and I start wearing things that are a little bit tighter or a little bit more revealing. I'm not wearing it to get attention. I'm wearing it for me. I think I look great. I'm happy. I don't feel like I have to cover up in fucking 10 layers because I feel like I'm a hippopotamus. I feel good in my skin. So I'm like, hey, you like that? It's good, right?
I immediately got a view of just like, he's setting up the dinner table and somebody's just slapping a paddle on Hungry Hungry Hippos. Sometimes I eat like that, or just like,
I feel like,
fuck the silverware.
just hoover that down.
I mean, it's not the
All
greatest
right.
with soup, but
But my favorite, and I say this, loosely, my favorite point is when men are like, oh, you're trying to get attention. From who? Do you want to
who's,
know who I accept
who says
compliments
that?
from?
Who goes, you're just doing that to get attention? Like somebody actually says that to you and you're like, can we start with hi?
Like, it's just, it frustrates the shit out of me because I'm like, do you want to know who I accept the most genuine compliments from? Women. If a woman comes up to me and says, "Girl, you look really great," or "I like your shoes," or, "Your hair looks really nice," or "I love your lashes," or whatever, I'm like, I get butterflies when a girl compliments me because to me there's not enough of that. Women complimenting and flattering women. So that's why I tell women, I'm like, don't fight over no man. Like if he strays or if he this or he that, don't be like, that's my man. Be like, yep, you can have him. I'm out. I'm out.
That is true. That's
Yeah.
the definite that's relationship over. No, don't circle back, don't reconnect,
No.
don't it's done.
Yeah. It's like we're done here. That's good. You have him.
I can forgive
We're good.
everything else. You can commit murder if you've got a good reason. I can move past that.
I will never fight a woman for a man.
Mm.
Never. Never. I don't care if I know her, if I don't know her, if I know she exists, if I don't know, I don't fucking care. If you come to me and be like, that's mine, cool, it's yours, I'm out. I don't have any, to me, it's so fucking archaic and it demeans us as women when you fight over a male. They're not possessions.
It's kind of nice
You
to
want
be
to fight me on
possessed.
the fucking jacket at the clearance rack? Let's go, bitch.
I
Let's
don't
go.
know. I think though, I think it's kind of nice to be possessed. It's kind of nice to know because I mean, a lot of times a relationship will just slide into a level of comfort where the chase is done, right? And it is nice to know that you're possessed and wanted and chased. So like, if a woman looks at you, like if you're with your girl and a woman looks at you and she just pulls you a little closer, that's actually a really nice feeling for a guy. So it's not about fighting with
That
other
there's a
women, but
difference
it's
there, Michael. What I'm
no.
saying is,
I'm just saying the possession part. It is nice to be a possession.
well, not a possession, but just something that is valued.
A cherished possession. That's what that is. Not owned, not ownership like defined. It's a cherished possession. I have things
Listen
that are
here,
cherished,
Wordy.
not many things, but it is. And I don't that's why I'm just saying I don't want to mince words because I think it is an important thing
I
to have
appreciate
that
where you're
feeling.
going with it. I don't disagree. Women feel the same way. If a man is trying to approach her, she wants her spouse or partner to be like, "What are you fucking doing?" Like, of course, right?
I've
But
had
that
both.
I'm
I've
not
had
talking
both where
about
it's like,
that.
you should trust me, let me go do whatever. And I'm like, it's not that I don't trust you, I don't trust them.
Yeah, and that's fair. And that's a comment that I've heard too. It's not that I don't trust you, it's I don't trust them. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what you want me to do. I'm not going to sacrifice my personality or who I am or what I want to wear because there's always going to be a guy that fucking thinks a certain way. Like, I love the comment, you left nothing to the imagination. So cool. Wouldn't matter what I was wearing. You're already imagining because that comment is so fucking retarded. Oh, you left nothing to the imagination. So what you're
Well,
saying is that now you don't have to work to figure out what's under my clothing, whereas before you would have had to.
I
So it
mean,
wouldn't have
you have
mattered,
clothing on, it still requires an imagination. I don't know,
but
really
still,
know
what
what they're saying.
I don't look at a guy and go, "Gee, I wonder what's under them pants."
Really?
No.
Guess it depends.
No.
Guess you
No.
gotta wear the men's yoga pants.
I mean, unless he's wearing
Leave
skinny
nothing to
jeans,
the
then I don't
imagination.
need to wonder what's in his pants because I can fucking see it,
That's what
you know?
that's what the gray sweatpants are for.
But
The
that's what I'm
classic gray
saying is that when
sweatpants.
men wear something that can give you a really good idea what's underneath their pants, then you don't have to wonder. Most women, when they see a nice looking guy,
Mm.
they're not looking him up and down going, wonder what that mouth can do, wonder what that dick can do, wonder what's in his. That's what they think. They're
Jesus.
like, oh my God, he's so fucking hot, girl. And then they get all stupid and they want to go talk to him or whatever because they think he's cute. That's the first thing. But then if he opens his mouth and he's got nothing profound to say and it's nothing quick or witted, quick witted or anything, then some women are like, oh shit, no. And other women are like, oh, good, he's stupid. I need one that's stupid.
Oh, you
That's my flavor right there.
Jesus. By the way, none of this equates to job site, just so everybody knows. This is not really hard hats, hard truth. This is really outside of the construction site. This is not the conversations for there. Otherwise, you
It's not,
probably
but
will end up in HR.
right. But I think where I would wrap it into that is just understanding the
Mm.
psychology of why women feel the way they do, the psychology of men and why their opinions are so sexist,
Could be,
misogynistic.
not are, could be,
Not all men,
not
but
all
a
men.
lot of I mean, if we actually did the tally, Michael, in my comments, there's 600 comments, and out of the 600 comments, take out we'll say 50% comments that are women that are either retaliating or telling a story, because there is retaliatory comments in there from women. But out of all the men, out of the 50% of the men, 10% had something nice to say. The
Well,
other
like,
40% wanted to bitch, complain,
what
piss
is
and
it?
moan.
Isn't that the very nature of social media? Is these keyboard warriors where they got nothing good to say,
Well,
right? But I tell you what, the podcast is open. You're welcome to come to the podcast. But you know how many of you keyboard warriors will show up to a podcast and actually tell you a story? And I guess this precisely
right.
zero.
Yep. Big
Because
fucking
everybody's
goose egg.
got balls to do this. Everybody's got balls to do this. And usually it's like user 19, 27, 35, no picture, no friends, no nothing. They've got all kinds of things to say. They usually have the most to say.
I think we're gonna have
Yep.
to split this podcast in two.
This one? Why not? How long have we been talking for?
40 minutes.
40 minutes. No, we'll just put it out in one. We just got to we didn't set the alarm. That's the problem.
We didn't.
And this is what happens when we kick it. We're just like, yeah, we'll just freestyle it. They're like,
I
bad idea.
know.
Fucking bad idea. Bad idea. We need like maximum 2 topics. And the other person's job is to wheel the other person back in. Otherwise, it just feels like 2 drunken people sitting around a campfire. You're like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? Right? That's what we need. We need the guitar player to come in and start playing you off, right?
Right?
I hate that person
That's
around a
all
fire.
that's my
The guy who comes into the fire, listen, I like the guitar, but you idiots who come around the fire when everybody's talking, you pull out the guitar and now nobody's talking, you just ruin the fire. Like, I want to go start a second fire where you can't go.
You can't sit with us.
I'll bring a radio, right? Or just like plunk away softly. But like when you're playing loud enough that nobody can hear, you've ruined the fire. That's it. Anyways, but that's what we need for us. We need a guitarist to come in and play us off.
You and I are the type of people that would grab the guitar out of someone's hand and fucking throw it and be like, go play over there.
Or just look
I
at
wasn't
them.
done talking.
No, don't. Bad.
No means no, full stop.
That's it. I get you to say no. You're ear raping me. All back to rape.
You better stop.
That is so inappropriate. I should cut that out.
You are so inappropriate. But it was like morbidly funny.
Speaking of HR.
Inappropriately funny.
Speaking of HR.
HR nightmare. Who's the HR nightmare?
I would be an HR nightmare. I would be terrible. Absolutely terrible because I have no ability to hold back. Like this is what's on my mind. You don't like it, you don't like it. Okay. It's fine. I do avoid some of the stuff.
I find you quite funny.
There's jokes and things that I would say that I will not say on the podcast though, because it's just too far of reach. It's too far of reach and people just say weird shit.
It's true. I agree.
So
all right, we're gonna wrap up since we're at 41 minutes. We'll wrap up. Thank you, Michael, for having this joyride with me down all of these avenues.
Next time, 2 topics. We're going to do 2 topics. Okay. That's it, max.
Aye, Captain. Okay, everybody, thanks for joining us today on Hard Hats, Hard Truth, our windy road journey. We'll catch you next Thursday. Have a great weekend and don't do anything crazy.